If you're struggling making R&B beats, then I got some tips for you that'll definitely help you out in the rest of this video.
Bless those keys, the RMC.
Sometimes I know that the main problem for making R&B beats is those difficult chords that sometimes you don't know how to play. Like for instance, I'm gonna go over this beat I made the other day. Started off with some piano and it sounded like this. Now this reference, I did use it from that song Mood Swings from Lil TJ and Pop Smoke. Right off the back, let me tell you guys, it's okay to use references for different songs, because if you're just starting to make different types of beats, or you just want to make a beat that inspires you and you want to recreate it in your own style, then that's okay. So I took the chords off of Mood Swings and I made them into my own. And then I rearranged the whole beat because I really like the chord progression in this beat, and I said I'm just gonna go ahead and put some different things into it so it won't sound like the same beat. Now you gotta keep in mind and understand that there's a lot of songs that have the same chord progressions throughout the song, that have the same chord progressions in different ways and genres. You have to realize that there's only a certain amount of chords and progressions that you can play. So that's why sometimes some songs sound very similar and you're like, they're using the same chord progression. Well, guess what? They probably got inspired from that, and it's okay to make another song around that. Totally fine. It's been done many and plenty of times. Now I did add a small reverse piano to this beat that sounded like this. Now something that I like to do a lot to my beats is always add some vocals. And a nice place you can find some vocals is from Arcade. Arcade can definitely help you out so much when it comes to finding some vocals that go straight with your beat. Another thing you can do to make the R&B beats if you're just starting off is start with the vocal, find the key that it's in, and then just rearrange some notes around it. Start clicking around some scales that you can use in order for that to work. Now I did add a second vocal chop to this beat just because I like to rearrange some things and I don't like it to sound super repetitive, but at the same time I thought this was going to be a good flow for this beat. Now, one super important tip when making R&B beats is the sub bass has to be sounding very crisp, very nice, very deep. When it comes to 808s on R&B beats, there's no specific rules. I also like to add my 808s after the sub bass comes in. Maybe take out the 808 at some point of the beat and then bring in the sub bass back in to get that feel of the R&B vibes, like saying, you know, this is smooth, this is like feeling like this is really touching the soul. There's no rules. You can play around with it, use your 808s here and there. There's no rules to music. Just make something that sounds soulful. Now, when it comes to hi-hats, it really depends what type of R&B beat that you're making. So if you're making like a trap soul type beat, then you kind of want your hi-hats to kind of hit straight. If you're making like a wavy type beat, then you want hi-hats to kind of cut off in the middle and make like a different 8-bar loop. And I'm pretty sure most of you guys know already how to do that. And if you don't, then go ahead and comment down below. I need a hi-hat tutorial. Now for the kick and the snare, it sounded like this. I kind of wanted to have that bouncy feel, so I made kind of like a Drake type of vibe. You want to make the snare and the kick have that bounce, so kind of make the kick hit right before the snare hits so it can sound kind of like a waveform like this. I don't know if you've ever seen a drummer, but it's kind of like playing drums. You're kind of just hitting the kick and the snare almost at the same time to have more of a bounce and more of space. Once you have space when the kick and the snare, then the rest of the instruments are not going to clash with that, and it's going to make your beat sound a lot wavier and a lot bouncier. And if you feel drums are a huge struggle for you, go ahead and watch some drum tutorials, watch some drum videos. You're going to get some ideas on how these drummers are playing, because technically that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just, you know, inputting it with MIDI. But if I had a drum set, it would be easier to just play with the drum. That's why you see a lot of people just using their pads to play. Another thing when it comes to R&B is a lot of ambient sounds. Now this sound that I used right here, comes straight from the Somatic sample pack. I think it's from the Cobra pack, and they have a lot of effect sounds that you can use as MIDI, and you can go ahead and use them and shape them in any form that you like. Now, you know, some beats and some songs have some intros into them and then it goes into something else. Well, for this beat, I thought I would do that. I was sending this beat to my dude Biddle, and Biddle's like a really big TikToker now. He has over 1 million followers on TikTok, and I think he kind of wanted like an intro, kind of like an ambient intro, more slow paced intro, and then, you know, make the beat drop after that. So this is what the intro sounded like. Now, believe it or not, this is kind of hard to make if you're just doing it from scratch. Thank God for Arcade. All I did was I went straight to Arcade, I went to Extra Perks, and I found a good sample that I can use for the intro to make my life a lot easier and just to finish this track and make it a lot faster. A lot of people are anti-sample. You know what? Samples are here now because they make our life easier. Just with technology that has advanced and expanded, it makes our life a lot easier, and that's okay. I don't mind using samples. I know in the long run I could probably do this, but we don't have to do that no more. We can just use samples and just make our lives easier. Probably said that like 3 times, but you get my point. And the last thing I'm gonna go over that I did to this beat is a crash and open hats. You have no idea how much of a difference open hats makes if you put them right before the snare hits. Right before that snare hits, just add that open hat. It just makes a huge difference, and you're gonna see it in your productions if you start adding them. Everybody loves when the beat drops, but if it doesn't drop good enough, then it's kind of a disappointment, and you're probably saying like, oh, my beat dropped and it feels like it still didn't drop. Well, guess what? That's probably because you didn't add a crash or because your kick doesn't sound loud enough. Sometimes when my beat has dropped and I'm like, it's not making any difference, it sounds the same as the other beat, I add a crash, and let me tell you, it makes a significant amount of difference. If you're not adding crashes to your beats when the beat drops, then I suggest you start doing that right now. Now, yes, the kick and the 808 should punch right when the drop hits, but if you add that cherry on top, which is the crash, it's gonna make more of a difference than just your 808 and your kick, I guarantee it. And at the end of the day, the full beat sounded like this. Still struggling with your volumes and the 808s not standing out enough, then go ahead and click this video right here because it's going to help you make your 808s stand out way more on all devices. Again, thank you so much for watching this video. Till next time, stay blessed and stay positive. Peace.